Good day, St. Lucia, and welcome to another edition of Chill and Chat. I'm your host, Mondi Lewis, and today I have with me very special guest, our political leader and leader of the opposition, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Welcome to Chill and Chat, sir. Finally, you're here.
Hi, Mondi. Hi, St. Lucia. It's a long time, but I'm here at last.
Okay, at last, indeed. So let's get into Chill and Chat with Philip J. Pierre. Are you from Castries East, Mr. Pierre?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm from Castries. I was born in a house that no longer exists on Grass Street, actually. Not in fact, on Chaussee Road. There was a two-story building across there, so I was born. And then we moved to Waterworks Road when I was probably a few months, and I've been there since then. Literally been there since then.
So, from the time you were born and your family moved to Waterworks Road, and you have kept the same residence for your entire life?
I have lived there all my life, and I've built my home where I live now, right in front of where I was born, where I was basically born, if you want to say it this way.
Okay, but so why did you stay in Castries East where you were born?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was probably a matter of coincidence because I am my parents' only child. In fact, my father's first wife died, and all his children of his first wife, they went to school in England, right? And I was the only one, fortunately, unfortunately, who stayed here, right? So, so I found myself alone with my parents, with my mother and my father. So it was kind of not wanting to leave them alone in the sun, kind of spoiled a little bit. I wanted to stay home, so I stayed with them. And then when the time came, I went to university and I came back, and I wanted to be on my own, so I built my house in front of them. Okay. So I was still with them, but being able to do, you know what I mean?
Grown-up stuff.
on my own, right? Being able to do that. So that's what happened. And I stayed all my life.
And your parents' house still exists today?
Yes, my parents' house still exists. I have my office in there. You know, I run a consultancy business. I've been doing that from 1991, I think. And then it's still there. So I kind of made it over in the same architectural structure. And then my office is there. Okay. So sometimes I go back there and find my bedroom and things.
Oh,
which is actually an office for one of the guys, for the manager. He stays there. But I am no longer involved in practice. So the guy he works there. I think there are about 6 or 7 people who work for him. But sometimes some clients want me to look over their stuff for them. So I look over it sometimes. But basically I no longer practice.
Okay.
I've been a full-time politician.
Wow.
That's why I'm so poor.
Unlike so many others, but we'll get to that. Let's keep on you, Mr. Pierre. Tell us an honorary day in the life of Philip J. Pierre.
All right. Right now, an ordinary day for me, I get up in the morning. In fact, I try to read. So I hate to sleep, which is bad. I go to bed very late. I just find something to do. I either read or I watch television. I can tell you every episode of CNN with Don Lemon, and when I'm home, I watch a lot of television, and I read, right? So I go to bed the earliest possible is midnight, which is bad. If I ever go to bed before 10, I'm very sick. So I go to bed about midnight. I get up in the morning. I have some coffee. I have coffee, 1 aspirin, and a banana.
Okay.
Every morning. Right? Then I go to the gym. My gym is downstairs. All the time the phone's ringing, and then I go to the gym. When I do about at least 30 minutes, sometimes 40, sometimes an hour. Then I go upstairs. Maria has my breakfast for me. I have a cucumber, cucumber salad, a pawpaw, and a yogurt sometimes, either a salad or yogurt, it depends. And that's my breakfast, and some water.
Where's the rest?
no rest. You see, I'm very careful with what I eat. I actually measure the carbs I take every day. So I suppose to have about 25 to 30 grams of carbs every day. So I try to stay within that.
So this is your keto diet, which I know
Yes,
you're trying to get the rest of us on,
yeah,
but
this
that's
is
not
my
happening.
diet. Right? You see, I don't have any stomach, you know. I want to keep my stomach away. So I actually measure my carbs. I do that every day. Sometimes at Christmas time, I may have a piece of fruit cake or an ice cream, sometimes. But generally, I stay out of that. So that's my breakfast, my lunch. In fact, I have been vegetarian for a long time, right? I eat no meat, no pork, no chicken, no lamb, no rabbit, nothing. I just eat seafood and fish. So my lunch would be some seafood, lots of salad, about 2 or 3 pieces of sweet potato, right? And probably some green figs. I like broth. I like green figs and fish. I like broth. So I have that. And on evenings, I have a yogurt, some water, some cashew nuts, some raisins, and that's it. No bread, no sausages, nothing.
So
if I go to dinner, I make sure I eat less at lunchtime so I can have dinner.
So if I want to be a size 6 again, you recommend that diet for me?
And you'll feel fine. You'll have a lot of energy. You'll be good.
Wow.
It's not as difficult as people think, you know. But you know, I tell you something. People believe that being fat is healthy. Nothing wrong in being fat. I mean, you try your best not to. But there's nothing wrong in ensuring that you take just the right amount of carbs and you stay all right. And I can tell you something, I want to thank God for that. My last medicals, I was almost perfect. So anybody who has expressed concerns about my weight loss is deliberate, and my last medicals, with the help of my doctors and God, it was good. I hope it doesn't change today.
Not at all. I mean, but that's quite a lot of discipline for somebody to, the rigors of politics, then you living this crazy keto vegetarian diet. But again, hats off to you. And if it works for you, I see you know looking slim and trim in your very nice shirt. So
although some people say, "Oh, he's lost weight, he must be sick." I'm not. Praise God. I may be sick today, tomorrow,
Yes.
but not for the time being. I thank God for that. I'm in good health.
okay, perfect for that, Mr. Pierre. So so you told us about a day in your life. How have you, in terms of your family, been coping with the rigors of your political life? I mean, you do have a personal life. All of us do. You have your daughter who, I mean, let's do the convent wars. She was in Blessed Anne's. I was in St. Teresa's, but she was a few years below me. You have a family, and being in politics may not be easy for anyone. How have they been coping with that?
Well, I'll tell you something. I always believe in politics that the pressure ought to be on you, right? So I keep my daughter out of politics completely. In fact, I always argue with you for that, right?
Yes. Guilty.
Yeah. Because, you know, I'll tell you something. When you try to put your family into something, they become there to be attacked. Politics is rough, right? I want to be attacked alone. I don't involve my daughter, my spouse. I don't get involved in that. So I keep them away from that completely. So, you know, people pretend that they want to pretend and put their family in and pretend that they are family men and things. And when they get attacked, they attack and say, leave my family out, leave my daughter out, leave my spouse out. But no, but you put them in it. So this is my position. My position is, I am the politician. I'm the one who takes the decisions. I'm the one who you like or dislike. Leave my family out. So this is how I deal. So I don't try, you know, when you get to know me, Monday, I'm not a pretender. I've never, and this is why I have, my constituents and me have such a relationship, because my constituents trust me and I trust them. So I do not do something near election time. You'll find me doing nothing now that I didn't do in the first year of my reign, right? So the reason why, so the secret, I don't know if it's a secret, but what has caused my constituents and me to be so tight is that they trust me, and then they know what I like, what I do not like, and I know what they like and what they do not like. So I've kept my political life completely separate from my private life. Now, in terms of my business life, since I'm in politics, I've tried my best to keep that away also. So some clients come to me for private consultancy. I do that, but I no longer practice. In fact, I've done quite a lot of work in my business life. I've worked for the OECS. I've worked for CARICOM. I've worked for the CDB. I've worked for the EU. I've done consultancy for all for these, plus local clients. There are some major clients here that when they were small, they started with me. I've done tax work, and but right now, I've left that completely. I have regional clients. I've done work in Trinidad. I've worked in every country in the OECS, probably except Antigua. I don't think I've worked in Antigua. As I said, I've worked for the CDB. I used to be the Dun & Bradstreet correspondent in St. Lucia. Dun & Bradstreet is a firm that gives credit to clients, so they used to come through me. I had to do an analysis of the financial situation and reply to Dun & Bradstreet to decide whether they should get credit or not. I did all that. But I've stopped doing it, and I'm a full-time politician.
Okay, and I mean, some people would ask, why would you give up? And it sounds like, you built quite a reputation, quite a clientele. Why would you give up all of this and devote more than half of your life to politics, Mr. Pierre?
Well, sometimes it's a story I ask myself too. I ask myself why. But it's a long story. Julian Hunt, right, was leader of the Labour Party. And Julian Hunt was involved in cricket, together with Oliver Scott and Tyrone Maynard. Now, you may not believe it, but I knew Tyrone Maynard very well. Tyrone Maynard, I mean, when I was a younger person, Tyrone Maynard was actually a guy I spoke to a lot. I knew him very well. Then one day, I was at my house, and Julian called me and said to me, "I have a seat for you." I said, "Seat of what?" I said, "Seat?" Yeah, he said, "I have a seat for you." Yeah, I didn't worry about him. Then there's a lady who's still alive called Lillian, and another lady called Sister Magna. Sister Magna is dead. And they said to me, "I want you to run Castries East." In fact, they said East Castries. I said, "What? Run to do what?" I always had a keen interest in politics. I was involved. In my time, there was the Black consciousness movement. There was Black Power, and it was a very ideological time.
Did you ever grow an afro?
Yes. Don't tell nobody.
These pictures.
Don't keep that to yourself. Me and me, right? And it was a time of ideology of people sort of their blackness, and they were conscious at the time of Che Guevara and Fidel Castro and Daniel Ortega. In fact, when I was the deputy prime minister, I went to Venezuela and I met him, and I was like, "Lord, I've met a hero," because you're a young man. You have a Daniel Ortega. He was involved in the Nicaraguan changes in Nicaragua. That was the time I was brought up. Salvador Allende. It's a rich history that when I read my book, I'll bring into. In fact, I'm writing a book, right? Yeah. Not now, but I told you so. I have the name and everything already. Because the history of solution, I see a lot of people write the history of solution politics, and it's so untrue, and it's done in terms of perspectives that they want people to believe as if it's about themselves. But when I write mine, it's going to be the reality of what already happened in solution politics in my childhood. In fact, that's for another show. So when Julian said so, I was always political in terms of ideology, but not political in terms of party. So he said, "Yeah, I have a seat for you." I went to my parents are still alive. So my parents always believed in me, and they always thought that I should do what I want to do. In fact, I'd done some strange things. I spent 1 year in Form 6. I did not go to Upper 6. All right, spent 1 year in Law 6, and I went straight to UE. So I always did things that were strange. Then when I came from university, I never worked for the government. I was never a civil servant. I went into the private sector. Again, that was madness. So I did strange things. So when they said, well, do what you want to do. So I said yes. But these elections, Money, you won't believe it, I did not know where the police stations were. You won't believe you are kind and you don't know where I knew nothing about it. I just went in literally like a lamb to the slaughter. And Romanus Lancico was the power pack. He slaughtered me. Right? He called me all sorts of names and he slaughtered me. Really slaughtered me. But at that time, there were a few people who really believed in me, right? And I'll call their names. There was a guy called Bidnale. There was Tom Walcott. And surprisingly, Rick Wayne.
Oh.
Surprisingly. Then there was Tyrone Maynard was there. And there were a few, and plus my soldiers. There was Stokes, who died. Stokes is probably my best friend. Then there was Cracker. Then there was Magna and Lillian, and there were the Vidals. And these people still are with me now, except Cracker, who is dead, and Stokes, who is dead.
And this was a 92 election.
Yes, we won that 92, yes.
That was
90, sorry.
the first one.
The first one, 92, yeah. And we lost, right? Then, but I knew, because elections are about figures. Elections are about figures, numbers. If you're a politician, you must know the numbers. Now, many people think that it's about hype and things. That helps. But elections are getting more people to go to vote for you on the day than the other person. Very simple. That's what it's about, So all what we do is you have to get more people to vote for you on the day than the other person. Very simple. And that's my theory. So you can do whatever you want. You can. But my job is to get more people to go and vote for me than you the day. And that's what I've done. That's why I've won 5 times. So I allow you to talk and do what you want, but I get more people to vote. Now, so we did that. So in 92, we decided, listen to me, we lost, but I looked at the numbers. At that time, even though Romanus had defeated me by 1,000 and something votes, right? I knew that his strength was in one box. That was in D2. D2 and the lesser in D1. That was his strength. The rest of the constituency, he'd beaten me about 300 and something votes. Yeah. So I did not do what a conventional politician does. Go out there and attack him as they always try to do me. Right? And he says to me, I will just embed myself among the people, take my blows, right, and do my work. 1997, fast forward. 1992, history of Julian, left in 19, lots of things which we'll do at some other time. And 97 came. But I'm the most underestimated politician in St. Lucia. People always underestimate me because I'm not a bluffer. I don't pretend. I don't play. I do not pretend to be what I'm not. I don't have a face for politics and have a different face in public. I do not say things in public and mean the complete different things. So people always underestimate me as a politician all my life. In 1997, I remember when Kenny Anthony was here, the Labour Party was on a high, when there was a hierarchy of seats to be won. Right? And some people may not like to hear that, but I'm going to say it. When there was a hierarchy of seats to be won, right? My seat was about number 14 out of 17.
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
In 1997, right? That was the hierarchy of seats. Because Romanus Lancico was a powerful man and nobody could have beaten him. You see? But I'd done the work, I knew where I was going. So being underestimated is part of my political life. Right? 1997, I topped the polls. I got 4,427 votes, more than any other person in St. Lucia's political history.
Wow.
Huh? So then the rest,
It's
it is,
history
yes.
indeed.
Yes.
And
I haven't lost since that.
yeah,
time.
and now you're a political leader moving towards the next general election. St. Lucia, this is the first segment of Chill and Chat, and again, my guest, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, political leader and leader of the opposition. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Chill and Chat, St. Lucia. I'm your host, Mondi Lewis, and I have with me the future Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. So we got to know a lot about Mr. Pierre's personal life, and we went into the politics. Mr. Pierre, you brought us through getting into politics, how that happened, and 5 terms later, what has been your experience?
I'll tell you something. It's been good and bad, like I call things, but what keeps me going is the ordinary people, the regular people in my constituency who express thanks and who have some level of gratitude. I'll tell you something. One evening, I was driving across by Old Victoria Road, coming across to get to the top of Pavy to go back to get home. And then I heard a noise on my car, serious noise on my car. It was raining, cats and dogs. So I pulled a car up, I parked beside the road, I'm not going anywhere. It's raining. So a car pulls up next to me in the rain, right? And a guy toots me. So me, not with my glass down, toots me. So the guy comes onto the car in the rain and he knocks the glass. So I go down, look a little slow. I say, what's that? He said, boss, what's wrong with you? So I go down a little bit and I say, I have a noise in my car. He said, boss, the guy comes out in the rain and he goes under the car in the rain and I'm in the car, right? I said to myself, why is that guy doing that? Then when the rain ceased a little bit, I said, well, that couldn't be. So I put a glass on. And he says to me, he said, boss, you are the one, you gave me my first toy for Christmas. And you gave me exercise books to go to school. And you gave me my first toy. So I'll never see you stranded at the side of the road. Up now, I don't know. I don't know the guy. That's what keeps me in politics. So it's not the flair and the boasting and the beating your chest and saying you did this, you did that, and things so and trying to degrade and downgrade people and post nasty things about people. It's that these real people. It's the lady who wants a tank of gas that you buy it for, is the child who you give a notebook to go to school or school bag, is the elderly gentleman you give Pampers very quietly, is the people that you touch their lives. Now, so in terms of infrastructural things, when I hear some detractors or people who just want to take me down, what you done for Marchand? I am not having that discussion.
Yes.
At least not with them. Because people don't elect you 5 times if you did nothing for them. So that old refrain will not work. It hasn't worked, it will not work again. Right? The people of the constituency. There are people who've moved out of the constituency who come to vote in the constituency.
Yes, my family did for a very long time until my
until
uncle
they moved them already.
until my uncle went for politics.
Right, exactly. So when I hear them, wait a minute, Marsha, this is just political nonsense that people say, but the people who matter,
yes,
which are my constituents, they know. So what keeps me going in the politics is the little things. I can give you a list of big things. You understand? If you want to criticize the constituency because you say that there are abandoned houses, well, you're going to criticize Cape State too. The abandoned houses up there. Yeah. The whole country has abandoned houses. So these little things, they don't have any bearing on me or my constituency.
But some would say, and even I guess sometimes I'm ready to pull my hair in terms of, you're not, like you said, you're not the average politician, nothing loud about you or anything of the sort, but that there's no in your face with you. And even when I know Jody and I try to get some pictures of you doing tasks, whether it's going to somebody else, you refuse. What is that about? And seeing that we're in this digital age, people always want to know what it is that you're doing. You don't. How do you circumvent that?
Well, I'll be truthful to you. That's my biggest issue. My biggest problem is if I want to put myself out front and get in the camera, and that's my biggest. In fact, yesterday I was talking to a guy at UE, a young man, and he said, "You buy social media," which I understand I must do, but what moves me is the little people that talk to me face to face. And it happens all the time. I mean, yesterday I sent something for a guy, and the guy burst into tears.
Yes.
You understand? So when I see all I understand that I have to be out there, right? But I know what is important to the people is how you touch them in their souls, how you touch them in their hearts, how you change their lives. And that's what I try to do. Guys who come from prison and who are dejected and they have nothing, and they come to you and you assist them, and you tell no one. You understand? People who tell you their uttermost secrets, and you assist them and you tell no one. People who you've helped and they've turned against you. You know, that's a sort of, but you don't, you let go. You say these are people. You understand? That's what keeps you going. So I understand that all the being out there is important, but what drives me is not being out there and showing myself off with pictures and when people come and say, "Thank you, Mr. Pierre," and things so. Nah, it's about touching their lives and making them feel better and doing things that you know will cause them to have a better day.
So if you had to do it all over again, would you still choose politics?
Yeah, that's a secret.
Okay. 5-term MP, but it would have been a 3-time cabinet minister?
Yes. Okay. 1997 to 2006, I was a minister.
Yes.
Then 2011 as a minister. So I've actually been a minister for 15 years.
Okay. And how's that experience been? What do you think was your crowning moment? Okay, let's say from each ministry that you headed.
My crowning moment in politics was having a private dinner with Nelson Mandela. That was a crowning moment in my life. I mean, I've met Barack Obama, I've met President Clinton, I've met President Bush, I've met Desmond Tito, I've met some African leaders, I've met Hillary Clinton, I've met Chief Rowley, I've met Owen Arthur, but all these guys are very powerful guys, but the crowning moment of my life in politics was having a private dinner with Nelson Mandela that Kenny Anthony invited me to. I'm very thankful to him for that. The dinner was Nelson Mandela, Kenny Anthony, Mario Michel, I think either George or Lama Huntley, I'm not sure, and myself. Okay. And that was 2 hours. And this is, I mean, Nelson Mandela was the closest I have met to a guy being a sage, a wise man. That's my closest. To me, that's my current of my entire life.
And a picture in your office? Yes, now I understand. Now I understand.
I mean, personally, this way, and there was no social distancing. So that guy is. Okay. He's a wow.
And in terms of your as a portfolio, as a cabinet minister also.
All right. 1997, I was the minister for tourism, financial services, and investment. 1997. Now, 1997, that's what I was. In 2000, and when the history be written, the history of falsities and lies You understand? Will be out. In 2000, there was an issue in the Ministry of Commerce. My friend Walter Foster was the Minister of Commerce. Kenny Anthony called me and said to me, listen to me, we have that issue there, and I've been speaking to the business people, and they figure you the best one to come and handle that ministry, whether you want to go. Kenny Anthony did not push me. Kenny Anthony never told me, you go to become minister. That's not true. You understand? But again, in politics, people have their own stories, they tell their own lies, and then you have to live with it. And you see, I'll tell you something, Mondi. You see, anytime I go to bed at night, although I go to bed late, I sleep. Because I know everything I have done. I've never lied. I've never maligned people. I sit in parliament and I see people maligning other people. Just lying. And know they're lying, but continuing to lie. Just blatant lies. You understand? I see politicians do that all the time. I mean, I sit in the parliament up to the last time, and I hear men lie. It freaks you out. About what is that guy saying that for? So I just sit in the back and I say, listen to me, you know what he's saying there? I believe nothing you say. Because anyhow, that's another story. So, Kenny Anthony never fired me. He never instructed me to go to the Ministry of Commerce. Kenny Anthony and I had a discussion. Menisa Rambali was my parliamentary secretary at the time. Now, you know, anybody who works with me, I don't hide. I don't believe that I must hide everything from you. So even in my practice, there's some people in my practice now who started with me. You won't believe the people who started with me in my practice. You won't believe where they are now. Again, these stories are not told. Just leave them where they are. But I like to expose you to everything. So Menisa was at all meetings with me when we negotiated for airlines. You see a picture of we were the ones who negotiated for Virgin Atlantic to come to St. Lucia. Menisa was there. Menisa was everywhere. Menisa went to World Travel Market. So when you had that discussion, Kenny said to me, would you want to go to the Ministry of Commerce to deal with the issues there, and then we would make Menisa Minister for Tourism. Now, Menisa and I were close. We're still friends. I said, no problem. Then the rumor starts. Kenny demoted me. I'm not in politics to have anything to be in a situation where I'm the kingpin, I'm the best, and everybody else is less than me, and if it wasn't for me, that wouldn't happen, and people come because of me. No. I said, fine. So I went into the ministry. But that time, as Minister for Tourism, we had transformed the tourism industry. Right? First of all, we had started a situation, a philosophical underpinning to tourism, that the benefits of tourism must accrue to the people of St. Lucia. I was criticized wrongly for that. We worked on getting people involved in the industry. We had the tourism rangers. We had the hostesses. Just in that time, we started doing that. A crowning thing, which was very small, we opened at the gate between the port and the vendors' arcade to allow tourists to come and go straight out to the gates and never go through the vendors' arcade. We did that. Right? We began the tourism taxis. We decided that we would get them involved so that they could be licensed as tourism taxis. We started all that, right? We did all that. And then I went into the Ministry of Commerce. I see now people talking about buy local. We had a major buy local campaign in the Ministry of Commerce. Right? I started a major buy local campaign. So I see people doing this kind. I just, Then in 2001 there was an election. Then we won, and Kenny said, listen to me, you can take both commerce and tourism. So I was the Minister of Commerce and as Minister of Tourism. So
more responsibility.
Yes. And I was also as Minister of Investment and Consumer Affairs.
Wow.
In that year. When I tell my colleagues from abroad, tourism and commerce, they thought I was a madman. But I don't particularly like to travel. So I didn't do the traveling that all ministers of tourism do. Right? I don't particularly like to travel. So when we did that, we had to, we Minister of, so I was in Commerce and Tourism, right? Then what we did there, we had the most investments in terms of hotel rooms. I mean, there was never a time in St. Lucia's history when more hotels were built. Then we consolidated the financial services sector. We did that. Revolutionized the Bureau of Standards.
Is this when you brought jazz to Marsha?
That we did jazz in Marchand. We had a philosophical thing about jazz, bringing jazz to the people. I mean, I was wrongly criticized for that. I'm accustomed to people saying whatever they want about me.
And history has certainly absolved you.
That's why whatever they say now, once I know it's not true, it doesn't bother me. I sleep. My conscience, I go to sleep, you understand? So we did that. We did all that. I mean, and constituency-wise, that's another story. In that 2006 to 2011, we did the whole tourism marketing differently. I mean, I think people don't even remember these kind of things.
Yes, I think it's so commonplace now as if I wouldn't have done it.
Tell you what, you know the lookouts on the Mon?
Yes.
That's done by us.
Okay.
You understand? You know the 2 points in Dennery? When it's closed now, that's done by us.
Okay.
Yes.
You take it for granted that these things have
no, they've not been always there. Yes. I mean, every major investment in St. Lucia, tourism, was done by us. Any major investment. Tell me the last time they built a new hotel in St. Lucia.
I don't know. We're still waiting for the 3 from Alan Shasta.
No, the 7.
So viable.
So I just sit back and look at these things and I laugh at these things, right? Something we did in tourism marketing. We said, instead of having an office where you have one person, where you pay rent, we said let people do it from their homes. So we had a number of our sales people working from home in Atlanta, in California, working from home, and they did the same thing, and they used the technology to communicate. We did that. We're the ones who did that. The cruise industry, you understand? We got, for the first time, we brought taxi drivers to events where the entire cruise industry came together. Taxi drivers came. We did that. We brought them. You understand? And we really involved people. So our mantra now for people is not new. We had train sessions for vendors. We've been begging the vendors in that time so that they could have credit cards and debit cards at their places. That stopped. You understand? That move stopped. We always believed in people. We're the ones who, when I hear people talking about the small, the guest houses, and I mean, it's really sad when you have people saying these things and you know the truth, but I guess the history has not been written. And exactly. One problem with the Labour Party and individuals, including me, we do not tell our story enough.
You see why it's so important to capture those moments and tell it like you're saying. Yeah. And probably when we have well-written, well-documented history, that might help us. So look forward to that book of yours.
Like
you might need to write a couple of volumes.
Like you won't believe the amount of people come to me and say to me, I didn't know you all were in power for only 18 years.
Yes.
I mean, when you heard it go, you've been there for 15 years. I mean, that history is wrong. The Labour Party has been in power for 18 years. And if you have to go from 1964, if you have to go before that, just 10 years before, so it's still less. Yes. St. Lucia has been ruled by United Workers' Party.
For what, over
40 years. And the history is clear. And people try to deny that. 1964, 1979, United Workers' Party ruled. Now, all respect, John Compton did a very good job. I mean, I didn't agree with him, his politics, but I would never treat him how his party treated him, but that's for another show. That's 15 years. Right? 1982 is 3 years of Labour Party rule. 1982, 1997, 15 years United Workers' Party rule. That's 30 years. All right? Then 1997, 2006 is 10 years basically of our rule. Then 2006, 2011, 5 years again. That's 35 years. And 16 to now. That's 40 years of UWP rule. When we hear them talk about, you've been there for 15 years, people that just slip people.
Yes.
The history of St. Lucia has not been accounted for properly.
So not written properly.
And not accounted.
And not also taught.
Not
and I know
taught.
That's a big...
And that's a big thing. We've got to bring Caribbean and African history back to the schools. People got to know who is who in the country, who has made a contribution to the development of St. Lucia. Not only politicians, regular people. Yes. My mother taught for 40-something years. My dad was a cop for 40-something years, regular people.
Did they ever get a medal for long meritorious service in public?
Their son was on the wrong side. Their son was on the wrong side.
Mr. Pierre, we have to take another break, but St. Lucia, very entertaining, very enlightening chill and chat with Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Chill and Chat St. Lucia. I'm your host, Mondi Lewis, and with me, future Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. So, Mr. Pierre, we've had a lot of intense discussion, very enlightening, and I will have to bring you back because we have so much to talk about. But let's go to the entertaining part of Chill and Chat, which is my favorite. So, quick fire questions. First question, who's someone you admire?
Sir Vivian Richards.
Why?
A cricketer. He's strong, he's passionate, and he's brave. Okay. And he stands for something.
Interesting. Okay. What's your favorite pastime?
A mixture of reading, exercising, and watching television. That's a mixture. But in fact, I played some sports. So you're going
to live out the fine wine part.
The who?
The fine wine part.
Yeah.
Okay. St. Lucia, I'm telling you all his secrets.
Good and fine one, yeah.
What's your favorite dish?
Green figs.
Oh my goodness. I thought you would have said fish broth, but... Okay.
Fish broth, fish broth with green figs.
With green figs?
Yeah. I'm having one in a while, actually.
Okay.
You can come up with me, get one.
I'm not a fish broth person.
Kentucky?
Don't judge me. What are you reading now?
I'm reading the Barack Obama's last book. I think it's called A Promised Land. It's a big book. I think it's about over 600 pages. That's what I'm reading now.
Yours will be that big?
9.
Number of volumes?
It's deep. And the reading is simple. It's not complicated. So it's a nice read. It's an easy read, yeah.
Okay. Finish the sentence. What St. Lucia needs now is?
Compassion. It needs caring. It needs a government that cares. It needs truth. It needs honesty.
Indeed. Why Philip J. Pierre for Prime Minister?
Well, that's a question that many people ask me. First of all, I think that I like people. I care for people. I think I'm in politics because I want to improve people's lives, not my life. I've been comfortable from my birth. I've not been rich. I didn't come from parents who had money but I was comfortable. I could do what everybody should do. No extravagance. But I think I care about people. I think I want to see people's lives improve. I don't want to do it for myself. This is why I'm not upfront. This is why some people tell you I don't have the show. I can't represent St. Lucia internationally. I've represented St. Lucia internationally. I've been to the UN. I've spoken at the UN, not at the UN General Assembly, but I've spoken at the United Nations. I've been Minister for Tourism. I've been Minister of Financial Services. I've been Minister for Investment. I've spoken to some of the big investors in the world. But basically, I want to be Prime Minister so I can improve people's lives. Because I care for them. Because I want everybody to have a chance to survive. And not only to survive, but to have a better quality of life. Not for me, but for them. So I think I should be Prime Minister to allow me the opportunity to work with a team of dedicated men and women, which I think I have, to improve the life of St. Lucia, to have a caring, compassionate government that will listen to people and see about improving the lives of people, not their own lives, but the lives of their friends.
Okay, very well said. What's your favorite place in St. Lucia?
My favorite place in St. Lucia is just before you go to Soufre, just before, on the hill. And just on the hill, I think right now we started to build a lookout there. Just before that, and you look at the Pitots. I think that's a fascinating act of nature.
It is actually mine too. I always tell people, once you get down there and you see the Pitots, like, I just feel like everything's so much better of the
that's
world.
a real that is something that is and also I like to just sit and watch the sea. I think there's something really immaculate about the sea, the ocean. I like.
Okay.
Like I spend sometimes Sunday mornings, I just stuck by the beach alone and just watch it.
Okay. Very
basically.
Nice. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night is if St. Lucia continues to have the government that it has now. I'm really afraid, and the more I go to Parliament, the more I get afraid. I get afraid because there are simple things that I see the government should not be doing or should not be saying, and they say. And what hurts me the most, concerns me, is the surrogates who propagate these lies. These things that are obviously not true. The refusal to say that, listen, I made a mistake. I was wrong. I made a mistake. So I want to change. The idea that everything I do is right. And the lies and the dishonest institution politics really keeps me up at night. It really, really hurts me when I see people just openly lie. I mean, it really, and to cause people to believe these things that are not true. You know, that is what keeps me up Monday. It really keeps me up, Not for me, because I know it's not lies. The way these people misconstrue things and fool other people and lead people down a path that they themselves are not heading for.
Oh, indeed.
They have their own lives. They do their own thing. But they just lie to people and openly lie.
Yes.
This is what keeps me up, honestly.
Okay, last question. Journée Creole or Carnival?
Carnival.
Okay.
That I actually watch it, I don't jump back to watch Carnival. And you see me there sometimes. I go by my friend.
Yes.
By my friend, and I watch it from every space, this gas station, every year.
Yes, I see you there every year.
And I go to Calypso and I think. But again, I do these things for myself. So you wouldn't find me taking a picture, watching. Oh, you wasn't Carnival. I do it for myself.
I took a selfie with you once.
You did? Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Of course, yeah. That's what. I think Carnival is wonderful.
All right, one day you'll come in. We'll play a little mass.
I think Carnival is wonderful. I think Journée Creole is also wonderful, but I think Carnival.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's it for quick fire. Mr. Pierre, any last words for St. Lucians? And I promise St. Lucia that I will bring him back, hopefully before the election is called, or maybe when he is the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Who knows? Whichever comes first. Any parting words for St. Lucians?
Well, I want to tell St. Lucians that they have a very important decision to make, right? And that decision cannot be based on showmanship. It can't be based on who has the most likes on social media. It can't be based on who is out there the most promoting themselves. It must be based on the future of the country. How can our country progress in the present circumstances? We're going to be going into the next elections with a debt to GDP ratio of over 100%, right? We're going to go into the next elections in a country where the school children would have lost a whole year of their education. We're going to be going to an election, to a country where the tourism industry will not be what it was last year, whether year before last, whether you like it or not. So on this solutions, look into your good conscience and say to yourself, let us remove the bluff and the fluff, and let's remove the showmanship and the nice glossy pictures and look at the reality. Can you, as a young person, believe that there's a future for you in St. Lucia? This is all I'm saying to the people of St. Lucia. Forget about the bluff and the fluff. Forget about the showmanship. Let's look at the reality and tell me, do you think that your future as a young person or your future as a country, do you think your life now is better than it was 4 years ago? Look at it and decide that this government is bad for St. Lucia. You need a government that cares for people, not only near election time, but that cares for people generally, and a government that believes in substance and not bluff and fluff. Thank you very much, Wendy.
Indeed, substance over hype, St. Lucia. And Mr. Pierre, thank you for being my guest on Chill and Chat. It was very entertaining and enlightening, and I do hope again to have you back very soon. St. Lucia, that was it for Chill and Chat. I'm your host, Mondi Lewis, and again, my guest is Honorable Philip J. Pierre, future Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.